All right, we've got another role-playing scenario where I have to pretend that somebody's here. So for this one, I need to act out the following scenario. So this might be a little bit silly. I'm just going to try to do my best. Okay. The client is ineffectively communicating the service they wish to receive or is wishy-washy in deciding. So, I mean, that comes in multiple forms. I mean, the assignment points out shy, aggressive, indecisive, rigid, gregarious. Any way you frame it or whatever you call it, it's a communication barrier that's challenging to the person communicating and the person receiving the information. So let's just say it's somebody who's upset, more aggressive than shy for sure, having a hard time explaining what the service is or what they're looking for. Maybe they're just describing their skin to the receptionist at first, and she's not an esthetician, so obviously she shouldn't be advising them on what treatment is best for them. So that's probably frustrating to the client too, because the person that they're talking to isn't giving them answers. It could be just a whole bunch of things. So let's pretend that that's kind of the scenario, a frustrated person explaining something to someone who really shouldn't be giving them the information that they're looking for. Okay, the client is effectively or ineffectively communicating. Got it. The client becomes uncomfortable or unhappy midway through the service. So, based on this scenario, it sounds like we were able to either get the client in immediately, or maybe it was something done over the phone, and things were suggested to the client that maybe they weren't looking for. I could see that happening, where if it was somebody over the phone getting upset, and then they come in and there's this service that's scheduled, and it wasn't at all what they were looking for. The client is just dissatisfied at the end of the appointment. So I'm trying to think of something that I could have done, and it wasn't what they wanted. That would be very difficult in a spa situation, I think. I mean, I would have to be so void of the client and the client's needs that I just started working on them and doing whatever was written down in the appointment log. I myself would know better than to do that. I think things change daily, even hourly for people and their needs. Let's say originally they were coming in for I guess microdermabrasion or a hydrofacial or something, and then they got here and maybe it was too expensive, or they just didn't feel like having that treatment done that day and something else would have been better for them. I would have found that out. I think that every appointment requires a preliminary consultation, if you will. I mean, I get it. The first time you meet with them, there's going to be a lot more information that you cover, but once we get past that part, every treatment requires the time with the client to confirm understanding, right? Confirm understanding on both sides. So I want to confirm that I understand what their skincare needs are and what they're expecting to receive from the service. And I want them to, have the opportunity to help me understand those things. And then I also want them to understand, what they're getting. If they sit over the phone in frustration, I want something to take away my rosacea. And our receptionist, for whatever reason, heard that peels are a really good way to address that. And she's like, oh, we have a really great peel that'll help. And then she just, schedules the peel. Maybe that isn't the best treatment for that person in that particular moment. And, it takes a minute to talk to them and say, okay, it looks like when you scheduled your appointment, you were requesting a peel, and just to make sure that I'm providing the services that you need and the results that you're looking for, what is it that you're trying to target? What areas are you most concerned with that I can help you overcome? And if their expectation is that they're going to have this peel and immediately their skin is going to be flawless, that's an opportunity to educate and inform. That's not how, I wish peels worked that way. I wish every product worked that way. I wish I could say, hey, I want my fine lines and wrinkles to go away. I want, my skin texture to be flawless. I want my redness to go away, and I want a product to do it immediately. I mean, that would be so great, but that is not how skincare works, unfortunately. Makeup, on the other hand. But anyway, so every consultation requires the time with the client to just confirm understanding, like I said, to make sure that what they want as an end result is, one, something that I can achieve, or two, something that I need to let them know, hey, it's a process. I wouldn't say hey, obviously, but it's a process. And, this is how the process moves. This is what you can expect throughout the skincare stages of the treatment. And this is when we have seen results that you're looking for. And maybe I would even be able to grab the before and after book and say, hey, look, this is what we've seen with either these peels or these products or these treatments, and that's what I would want to share with them, just to make sure that they're happy, which isn't easy all the time, but challenges are what make us stronger, right? Okay. As you practice your communication scenarios, pay attention to the tone and level of voice used. I need to work on not touching my face. I don't touch it a lot, but for whatever reason, when I'm filming these videos, I'll scratch a little part of it or wipe it, and I know that is just not what clients are looking for and is definitely not sanitary. So I am aware of this, just as a side note. Okay. Pay attention to the tone and level of voice used. Okay, so I think that my tone is pretty good. I think what I need to continue to work on, and it was in our last chapter, or maybe even this chapter, when I communicate, I need to make sure that I'm smiling more. I think that will definitely help as far as how I come across. I have been told that I am... I think I've heard intimidating, a few other words that probably fall under that category, and I certainly don't want to come across that way. That's not who I am. I don't enjoy being intimidating. Maybe when I was in sports, I loved that because, if I can intimidate somebody, they probably won't respond well to whatever I'm doing, whether it's hitting a volleyball or blocking a shot or blah blah blah. But I think with the smiling piece, because I can tell when I practice reading the chapters out loud, because that's what I do, because I want to make sure that I'm keeping up with my tone and enunciating and pronouncing the words correctly. I'll remind myself to smile, and when I hear it, it just sounds so much more pleasant. I think the concern that I might have, though, is if I already come across intimidating because I'm so tall, I don't want them to think that a smile then becomes condescending. So there's a balance. There's definitely a balance there. But for the most part, having been in the beauty industry for quite a long time and dealing with just all different walks of life, it has been very rare that I have had experiences that are negative, and I have had them, believe me, but it's not common. And I know people that have a tendency to attract negative experiences, which are more common for them, and I can see the traits that they possess that would put clients off. So always working on things, right? Okay, pay attention to tone. Done. Try to identify what personality type you are working with. So with the person on the phone or whatever scenario we're talking about, it sounded like they were, regardless of the personality type, there was just confusion. And that trumps any personality type. Because when you can resolve the confusion and when people feel empowered with information, it doesn't really matter if they're shy or aggressive or timid or gregarious or whatever the case may be. I want everybody to be their authentic selves, but be informed authentically. So, personality traits are important because that's how you can establish, understanding them is important because that's how you can establish the connection with your clients. If I have a client who's very shy, it is not fair for me to treat them as though they're somebody who's not shy. And I think the book even said, at times we're chameleons, right? We have to base our interaction with our clients on who they are as a person. And that's just customer service, really. There's all kinds of books written and all kinds of YouTube videos and things that I've studied that show it's more important to be accommodating to the personality of the person that you're interacting with. Not, you're not going to degrade your character or become something that you're absolutely not, but just being mindful. It's good customer service for sure. Okay, and then remain professional at all times, even if you become frustrated. So me becoming frustrated, that's a personal choice. You got to stick with facts, not feelings. I think the second we step over into that feeling side, things just go off the rails. And you asked me 10 years ago if I was a fact person. Absolutely not. This is something that has taken a lot of time for me to develop as a person and as a professional. And there are times where it takes a lot of mental power to be like, okay, I just have to stay with the facts and eliminate the feelings. And unfortunately, the other person involved is going to be operating off of feelings and not facts. So it's just constant balance. Once you've completed the role plays, post your recording. Okay, so I'm just going to post this. Again, sorry that I don't have, I guess I could role play with Gussie, but as I shared in our very first Zoom, I happily live by myself, and being mindful of the pandemic, so no visitors.